What's going on, guys? Welcome on back to the channel, Matt DIY. So in today's video, I thought we'd do something a little bit different and do a review. I've had these set of QuickJacks. You probably saw the title. I've had these set of QuickJacks for a little while now, so I wanted to give my honest opinion on them and tell you guys how they're working out for me, pros, cons, things like that, and just do a regular, just a regular review of everyday usage, not sponsored or anything like that, just to give you how they're working out. So let's go ahead and dive in. Alrighty, folks. So in this video, I plan on showing you all about these things, how they work, how they're working out for me, pros, cons, and things I probably would have done differently if I were designing these things. But here they are. These are the 7000 TL version, so this can lift up to 7,000 pounds, I believe it is. I went ahead and got that set because I've got a few SUVs around here that are close to the top end limit of the 5,000s, so I just went for the 7s and figured, start heavy right out the gate. And I'm glad I did because they're built really well. But when we get into the pros and cons part of this, I'll tell you why that's also not so cool. Anyway, so here it is. Right out of the box, you get the two QuickJacks themselves, and you also get the hydraulic pump, which I'll show you in a minute. These are not included, so don't pay attention to that. That is actually the SUV and truck attachments that you can buy separately. So out of the box, you'll get the QuickJacks, the pumps, the hoses, all that good stuff. You will get the blocks that look like this, looks like a Lego, and these are stackable. You can do two high, one on top of the other, and this is just kind of a universal lifting point option. I went ahead and upgraded to the pinch weld blocks as well, because if you got a car, 9 times out of 10 you're lifting on the pinch welds, and these hold a little bit easier so that you can raise the car and keep it sturdy in between there, whereas these ones, I've seen people actually have them split, lifting with the pinch welds. So I just went ahead and upgraded and got these, and got the SUV and truck lifts as well, just to make things easier. But we got that, and you get the hoses with it. You get the hydraulic pump. You can choose 120 or 240. I got 120 on mine. You do need some hydraulic fluid to put in when you first set them up. I just used synthetic ATF, which is perfectly fine. It's kind of what they call for. And then if you follow this hose around, here's the other one on the other side. And you can see there's the 7000 TL, max capacity 7,000 pounds right there. And that's the gist of them. So I've been using them for about 6 months now, I'd say, and I always like to give them a good run before I give them my opinion on them. And overall, guys, these things have been a lifesaver. In one of my other videos, I made a DIY car lift system with a couple of blocks that kind of raises the car about 24 inches off the ground if you need to. But it's a pain because you got to jack up every wheel individually. Takes a lot of time, it's not really safe, etc. So finally saved up the money and went for a set of these. And I think all said and done, guys, these with the truck attachments and everything was right around 1,800 bucks or so. I got them on sale on, I believe it was Black Friday or somewhere around there. So if you wait for holidays, a lot of times they'll run like 200-300 bucks off these guys, and you can get them a pretty good deal. Anyway, that's what they'll cost, but it was definitely worth the money because they've saved a lot of time and frustration when you need to get under and do some work on the car. Even for like changing tires and doing suspension work, I can lift the whole car up at one time. I don't have to worry about doing wheel by wheel and then taking all day. I just lift it up, the car's up in the air, it's safe, it's not going anywhere, and I can work on it, do what I need to do, which is about what I'm about to do today, and I'll show you how it lifts and things like that. But overall, I would give them a good review and say yes. If you're looking for a cheap cheap car lift for your home garage, you don't have room for the traditional lift, which I almost do here, but just decided to go with these for now. I would definitely recommend them. So real quick, let's dive into the pros and cons. Pros, again, saves you a lot of time, will lift your car. I think it's up to 24 or 27 inches, something like that. I know they changed it recently, but it's well high enough to do what you need to do. I most of the time use it on setting number 1, and I'll show you that when we start to lift it. But that gets me up for suspension work and things like that, no problem at all. So it'll get it up there, no problem. So, one pro. Second one, I haven't had a car that I haven't been able to lift. So these newer versions, I bought this in 2023, they pretty much are standard for just about any car. And you can see, like on the platforms, you've got sections here where you can actually move this support front to back. So if you got a smaller car with a smaller wheelbase, you got adjustments there. Larger car, you got adjustments there. I haven't met a car I haven't been able to lift. Now, if you're working on something extravagant or sports cars or things like that, you might run into an issue. But for me, doing everyday vehicles in the garage, it's not a big deal. Haven't had any issues with that at all whatsoever. Really love the SUV lifts, attachments, truck attachments there. So another pro or another thing I would recommend if you're going to do this and you're lifting SUVs and things like that, definitely get those. Makes it a lot easier, and it actually gets you a little bit more height under the vehicle as well. They're pricey, but they're very solid and definitely worth the money, I would say. So another pro for you. Easy to lift your SUVs and trucks with those. And then I think just lastly, how easy it is to use, right? There's a little bit of setup, but once you have it out and set up, it's literally plug it into any 120, grab your controller, which looks like this, up and down, and you're good to go. Once you have it lined up and everything properly, you know, up for up, down for down, it doesn't get much easier than that. The pump doesn't take up a lot of space, and they give you plenty of lines to get around where you need to go. And the reservoir there, plenty of room for all the fluid you're gonna need for that. And the quick disconnect's another pro. Really nice, so you can actually lift the car, put it in safety mode, like in the safety locks, and disconnect your hoses while you're using it, which is nice. You don't always have to keep the hoses connected. And it's really easy to pop them on and off. You do need 2 hands, ideally, so I'm not gonna go ahead and pop this off now, but super simple to do. So I think that covers all the pros and how I use it and things like that. Like I said, I will show you how I do that here towards the end of the video. But wanted to jump into the cons, because this is not like, you know, a perfect world. Wanted to be honest with you guys. A couple of things I want to make sure you know before you go out and buy a set of these. Number 1, lots of setup involved, right? So the first time you take it out of the box, you're going to need at least a couple hours, if not half a day, to get these things up and running. It took me quite a while. You've got to put all these fittings on. So anywhere you see a joint where these fittings are, those do not come factory on there. You actually have to do those yourself and use the thread sealant as well, and you got to do that all as part of the setup. So that's on you. And then all the hose connections, things like that. It just takes a long time to get everything set up, and then you have to bleed the system. So you got to fill a fluid, pump it through, allow the air to release, go through all these steps. It's an extensive process. It does take time, and it is a little bit annoying, but you know, that's a con for me. I'm complaining, but at the end of the day, that's probably what you got to do with any lift out there, especially one like this. It's portable, so while it's a con, it's not a huge deal. Just set yourself some time aside to do that. One thing I will say, another con, is that, and this is part of setup, if you look at the hydraulic cylinders with the QuickJack label on them right here, you've got this secondary cylinder on the side. And I believe this is on all models, don't quote me. If not, I may be wrong, but I believe it is. And basically you have to fill this with air pressure, somewhere between 40 and 50 PSI, no more than 50 PSI, right? And that's supposed to be an extra boost of pressure to help you get past the highest lifting points, if you will. So like when you go up very high, that's supposed to be an extra, I guess, little oomph to get you up there. What I have found though is that these do not hold the 50 PSI. So no matter what I do, I cannot get them to keep the 50 PSI in storage. So like if I'm using them, I can fill them up when I'm starting to use them, and they'll hold the 50 psi and they'll work throughout the day. But if I leave and come back, chances are that psi is gone. I don't know where it's escaping. It's definitely not escaping out of here. My valves, Schrader valves there, were a bit loose, but I tightened them, so it's not leaking there. I don't know where it's leaking or what happens here, but it does. The air does find its way out, and I wish that it would stay in there because it's kind of a pain every time you get these guys out. You got to fill the air, and it seems like that's a common problem that I've seen online. If anybody has a known fix for that, let me know, but as of now, I haven't found anything to cover that. And I guess the last con is just they're heavy. And I know this is kind of being nitpicky, but I think each one of these weighs about 70, almost close to 80 pounds. So, you know, it's a lot of dead weight. They do have wheels on them, so you can wheel them around, but at the same time, when you're shoving them under the car like this, it does take a lot of effort on your part to actually get them under the car. And, you know, so just take that into account when you're going to use them, because they are some dead weight, and it's a lot to get these under here. So I think that's pretty much it for pros and cons. Otherwise, I've had pretty good luck with them. Easy to store, things like that. They don't take up a lot of space because they fold up so nice. And whatnot. I will say though, one thing I would do differently is on the design. So these are your side arms that kind of go up as you raise the vehicle, and they lock in to these locking points. One right there, and there's one further up right there. There's only two, which is fine, but basically the lock is this little nub here sticking on this welded metal piece right there. And I don't know, to me, when we get it up in the air, I'll show you, but to me, it feels a little bit light duty. I mean, I'm sure it's reinforced and can definitely hold the pressure. It just gives you a little bit of an eerie feeling, like maybe there should have been something a little bit heavier duty holding you there. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm sure this has been thought out and people have taken care of this, and it's not going to go anywhere. But it just feels like maybe that safety position lock should be a little bit beefier. I don't know. Just my personal opinion there. But other than that, I think that pretty much covers the pros and the cons. And overall, guys, they do work really well. They save me a lot of time. They're easy to store. So would I recommend them? Yes, definitely. Just make sure you know the things that I was talking about in this video. Now, one of the things I did not see in many of the videos showing the QuickJacks out there is how to actually use them, right? And how do you actually lift a car? When I first got them, I'm like, where do you lift a car? Because there's a lot of bad points where you can lift the car. It's not going to work out so well. And there's the correct places, right? So if I get under the car here, I can show you. Most cars are going to have this, right here is a good example, a pinch weld. And this is basically where the two pieces of metal from the body come together. This is not going to be a lifting point here, but if you look under your car, you will see cutouts usually in the plastic, or usually two nubs, like one here, 1, 2, showing you that that's a lifting point. And if I look down towards the front of the car, you can see there's another like half oval cut out there. This is a Volvo XC60. So those are the lifting points, those half ovals. And the manual will tell you as well. So if you look in your manual, it'll tell you where your lifting points are, but that's where you're lifting from, and that's what you're looking for. That's where the jacks are actually gonna lift the vehicle. It's not anywhere else. You're looking at those spots. So I wanted to show you that because it's something I did not know, that I thought that they didn't show you very well before you purchase them. But as far as, you know, pros, cons, what I would do differently, and where to jack from, that pretty much covers that. So now I'll go ahead and show you how they actually operate. Alrighty folks, we're gonna go ahead and lift this car, and all you wanna do is make sure that you're lined up. So like this lift piece right here on the QuickJack is lined up with the center of your lifting point. So it's about dead center to that pinch weld there. So, you know, we should be good to lift, and that's gonna be the whole way around, all 4 locations. So now that I have that, I'm just going to take it easy and lift a little bit at a time until they make contact with the car. And that's what I'm going to do, a double check, just to make sure everything is lined up properly and that we're good to keep lifting. So I'm just going to get down here and go ahead and start lifting. Okay, so now they've pretty much made contact with the car. So I'm just going to take a quick look to make sure everything looks all right. And so that one actually didn't make contact yet, so we'll go a little higher. Okay, so my ground is a little bit uneven here, so that's why that one hasn't quite made touching with it yet. That one's good. Let's go over and check the other side. Try to pick the most level spot in your garage or driveway. I know everybody's not going to be 100% level, but you know, you do what you can do and go from there. All right, that one is on. And this one is on as well. And I don't think I'm gonna be able to really show you a good angle, but you're just looking to get it centered. So as best you can. All right, so everything's looking good. So now we can continue to lift up. And it's really pretty effortless. You know, plug it in, press the up button, and watch your vehicle come off the ground. All right, so I'm just gonna stop there, do another quick check on things, just to make sure. Yep, everything is looking pretty good on this side. You know, a lot of times instead of bending down, I'll just get up here and feel, just to make sure it's got the pinch weld there, which it does. Yep, good to go. You can give the car a little shake and see if it moves, but it's really solid. Mine's not moving at all. So basically you want to keep going until it reaches the first locking point. I'll show you what that looks like. So there you can see it went right over. I don't think the other side did. Okay, the other side did just now. And I could keep going, guys. Like, I could just keep holding this down and the car will go even higher. Almost high enough to like sit underneath the thing. But I'm gonna be doing suspension work today, so I don't need it to go that high. So I'm actually gonna come back down. And what I want to happen is actually it to lock into place. So I need to get these. So I actually went a little too far. Okay, so that's there. So you want it like sitting on top so that it can lock into place. I'm gonna go around the side, get this other one. Right there, okay. And then you just lower it until it stops in those locking posts. So we're gonna press down. And it will lock into place right there. And you can see that it's locked in. And there you go, so that's that side. And there's that side. So now the car's in the air. I'll go ahead and try to move it. Moves just a little bit, but it's sturdy. Good to go, good to work on. No issues for now. So that's about it, guys. That's how you use them, how they work. My thoughts on them. I would recommend them if you're looking for a lift for your garage that's not super pricey. And it'll get you off the ground just enough where you can do the work you need to do. But yeah, that's about it for the video. Alrighty, folks, thanks for tuning in to the channel and going over the review with me. If you have any questions, drop them below in the comments. I'm sure I missed some things or forgot to include something. So if you have a specific question about operation or anything about them, feel free to let me know. I'd be happy to respond and help you out. Because there's a lot of questions I had that I had to figure out for myself. So if they come up, let me know. Also, like the video if you enjoyed it, and share it with your friends if you have the opportunity to. And subscribe to the channel if you're new here, where I do car projects and reviews and things like this for the DIY home garage. We'd love to have you here in the channel. Until next time, guys, always get out there and do it yourself.